I'll know that all I have to do is think that speed and he'll give it to me. If I can control his shoulders here, I'll control his direction. So you'll notice that I have no inside rein, no outside rein, no inside leg, no outside leg, and yet he does all these things for me. So when I ride, I realise that I don't need all those things either, and I can get these kinds of things pretty much just by thinking of them. Something I need to explain to Hope, he's one of the oldest, well, he's the oldest horse I have. He's been all over the world with me now, and his feelings do get hurt a little bit, so I just need to speak to him. Please talk amongst yourselves while we have a conversation. Hope, I know we performed in front of 20,000 people, had standing ovations, and they chanted your name. And we've been to Las Vegas where thousands of people see you and get standing ovations and loud claps. They're not clapping on the outside, Hope, but I know that they're clapping on the inside. But when they clap on the inside, it's not about you. So don't be upset. It's about you. Don't be upset, because they do love you. They're just loving you from the inside. Much more powerful than just that clapping and cheering. So I think we're right to go on. Thanks very much for being careful. So what I'm going to do now is put my hand on his head and walk away. And something I want you to know, that Hope is an incredible performer. 25,000 has been the biggest crowd he's performed in front of. So I'm going to walk around and crack these two whips. And I want you to make as much noise as you can and see if you can scare him from what he's saying. That's more like it. Now we've got him clapping on the outside. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is leave him there. The touch on his head is just a cue for him to hold his feet. Early on in his career, he'd just go to running away. And I'd say, perfect, I'm thrilled you ran away. I've got lots to do with that energy. Now that he's more mature in his training, I mean, even my 3-year-old does this, he says, I'm not going to run away, because that would be a waste of energy and you might need it. So even when I put him in positions that would seem extremely dangerous to most horses, he just says, you've got my best interest at heart, so it's okay. Very good. So, you know why? I know what you're all thinking. You're all looking at me going, why? And I say, because I can. I want to know, because right since a little boy, all I've ever wanted to be was a world-renowned horseman. And anyone who's the best at what they do, anyone who's a master likes to push the boundaries. And I want to know not only, you know, will people clap and cheer and think it's nice, but I want to know that when I put him in a vulnerable position, will he feel safe? If he can't stand here, what happens if I'm riding down Las Vegas, one of those blimps fall apart and land on top of us? I want to know that he can handle it, so he's pretty cool. He's not a quiet horse. He is not a bomb-proof horse. You know, people say your horse is a bomb-proof. I say a bomb-proof horse is a dead one. I want mine to run away from bombs. I don't want him anywhere near it. But if I said the bomb was okay, I'd let him go up and lay down beside it. So I don't want him to do things just because he's nice-natured. I want him to do it out of obedience. You'll notice he didn't get upset when you clapped and cheered. He doesn't even know you're there. It's just him and me. I tell my horses to ignore everything except for me. So you have a lovely little sleep. I can hear you though. I can hear you. While he ignores you, I don't, because I want to be a horseman and an entertainer. You're very important. So here I'm going to see if he'll stay down, because as I mentioned yesterday, when I lay a horse down, not only does it look pretty, but I'm putting him in a very vulnerable position. When he is on the ground, I've taken about half a second away from his getaway plan. Now that he cannot see anything, I've taken another couple of seconds away, because a predator could run up, jump all over him and go to chewing on him. But I'd just like to see him try. I'm pretty good with these. What I say to my horses is, if I lay you down and put you in a position that you might have thought was dangerous when you were young, you know that I am out here going to take care of you. I can't fight very good, but I would fight very hard if you came in here. So, why would he do that? Do you think he's under there going, oh my God, that's Guy McLean out there. Oh, he's that incredible, handsome, famous horseman from Australia. He looks so good in his blue shirt with his hat with a little bit of sweat on that he put on there for effect. And he's out there and he's been on television and in magazines and flown on big planes. He's not saying any of that. He's laying under there going, it's easier staying under here. It's easier to be here while he's out there taking care of me. He's not doing this for me. The horse that wins the Gold Cup in show jumping, or wins the cutting in the cutting futurity, wins the futurity in, millions of dollar horses, they don't do it for us. They do it for them. They're doing what benefits them the most. Hope says, I've tried everything else. I've tried running away, I've tried going left and right, I've run through this white string on 4 occasions. And now he says, this is the easiest thing for me to do. So that's the main reason that I do it. The second reason is in this hot California sun, this is how I keep them from losing their colour. It's not really. I get people come up and say, how long do you leave them under there? Not very long. I do want you to know that this is actually how I got him. I mean, you noticed before I laid him down, he just looks like a Smurf now, but before I laid him down, he was a beautiful looking horse, and someone brought him to me to be trained and said, we want you to train him, he's going to be wonderful. And I said, train him? I'd like to own him. Isn't he beautiful? They said, you couldn't afford him. You'll never have him. So I had a good idea. As I fell in love with him more, I thought I'll be able to get him. So they rang up and they said, how's our horse going? I said, quick, come, something's wrong, come quick. And as they drove up, I stood there like this. I didn't do that either. I bred this beautiful horse by a really expensive stud that I paid $200 for, little bush colt. This horse's mother was $300. And there's not any money in the crowd, and I know there's money in the crowd, but there's not any money in the crowd who could buy this boy now, because he is my number one, and he's a beauty. I called him Hope, because I hoped he would be as good as his dad. I'll tell you the truth, I hope he'd listen in the beginning, because he did want to do what he wanted to do. He was quite a snorty individual. You would go up into his yard and he would snort at you just like a wild pig. And he still does it. If I give him 2 months off, he'll still look at me as though he doesn't know me, and then 3 minutes later I ride him around like this. So that doesn't bother me, because I've found throughout my career that the horses who fight against you in the beginning when you're trying to teach them, they will fight for you in the end. And so he's the first horse I had to load on the trailer. Thank you. First horse I had to put on the plane to come over here. So when I ride him around, I'm trying to have full control over his legs, just exactly the same as I did before. What I try and do, see, though I love you clapping and cheering and I make these whips make loud noise and I go to Vegas where there's all noise, horses don't like noise, they like things quiet. So you'll notice when I ride, if I just want him to stay in a particular gait, and I do a lot of cantering when I'm bridleless and saddleless, because when I trot, I talk like this. So I do a lot of cantering, but you'll notice when I'm floating around, I stay very still. The moment I make movement, he tries to do something to change that. He wants things to go quiet. You'll notice as he goes around, he has his own way of going. He's collected in the body. He wouldn't be able to canter these tight circles unless he was collected in the body. But you'll notice that he raises his head in the air a little, goes just like he would in the paddock. But I know, I've seen some of the pants that you all wore when you come in here, but you like to see them in more of a frame. So let me do that. Very very knowledgeable. I look around. So what I'm going to do is I put my Guy McLean bridle on. It doubles as a stock whip. I'm selling them on booth for about $600 because they're very handy tools. I've actually had people ask where they buy the invisible bridle from. So here I'm going to bend him all the way through his body, change his bend, pick up on the rein the same as if I had a bridle in his mouth, and I'm going to pick up on him and ask him to go around collecting. Okay. You did get more clapping for the lay down. I'll have you know, no, too late now. You had your chance. The lay down, I can teach that in about 3 lessons. I can get a horse to lay down like that. And everyone goes, woo, that's amazing. But get a horse that used to travel around with his head like that, with a big neck like this, to go collected, and I get a golf clap, not good enough. That took me years. I used to have trouble getting him to collect in the bridle. Now I pick up on him and he goes, not good enough. I know why. I know why though. It's because I don't look like a dressage rider. Well, I'm a dedicated performer. I'll do what I have to do to get the claps I feel I deserve. This is one of my caps. I thought I'd use a bling one for the occasion. So what I try and do is look as close to dressage as I can without having to wear those pants. Very nice. You see, I was at the World Equestrian Games and I noticed, not in the show, because in the show they would, wear a top hat or helmet, and they wore jackets and that, but this is about as close I'm going to get. So I noticed that when they went out, they wanted to work on softness and suppleness to make sure their equine athletes were sound. I actually saw some of them make sure they did some of them too, so they didn't pull a muscle of their own, because when you're doing this kind of stuff, it can be a little bit difficult too. So now I'm all warm and ready. I don't know if I'm using the right gear for regulation Olympic dressage, but that's okay. So I'm going to go around and bend him around a little bit, pick up on the bridle, and I'm going to try and make the frames of the riders that I've seen that ride like this.
Oh, that's
I'll have you know that I've seen some of them smile, but I'll try and do the facial expression I see the most of. You get the clapping you feel you deserve. It's incredible. So here we'll ask him to lay down. See, the reason I love Hope so much is I want a carbon copy of him when I'm 90. It'd be awesome. I don't have to put a bridle and saddle on. I can get my remote control to bring over my wheelchair. Go straight from that, and away I go. So he is a wonderful boy. Let's go, He's down everywhere and done everything. You can get up, mate. I'm going to, oh, actually, you can have that because it's got nits in it now. I won't want it anymore. So, you're welcome to have that. Here I'm going to bring in a 3-year-old, a little horse. There's only one horse in my team here that I have. That's all right, we had to do another loop, but it's worth it because we jumped the line. My friend, it's all right. Ozzy likes to have a good look around. He likes to look out the front legs. Sometimes he lays out flat and has a sleep because it's really comfortable under there. Some people have said, and they never say it to me, I only ever get, wow, you're wonderful, wow, we love you. But on blogs we'll hear people say, what an awful place to put a horse, to put an equine athlete in such an uncomfortable position. Ozzy thinks me riding him around asking for a gallop is an uncomfortable position. This here, best place he could ever be. He says, this is awesome. I know for a fact you won't make me run when I'm here. So when I first started working with Ozzy, I saw him as this horse. I saw him as the very best version of himself. I saw him maybe being the lay-down horse with 3 over. I wished that he would be a spinat. But now I love him for who he is, because he's given me the best of who he is, and that's all I can ever ask for. I can never be anything than the best of who I am, and I've given that to you today, and all my horses are given the same. You're going to stand up in the back of these 3 beautiful horses and work a famous track from home to the Queensland Crossing. Very good. So ladies and gentlemen, I would love to thank my major sponsors, Prefit, my good friend that's a sponsor to me with all his help, Bernie, my major sponsor that's been sponsoring me since birth.